Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ibukonda Jimmy here again, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can take your brows from looking like this to looking like this. Yes, and I've noticed that there's so many makeup videos that try to teach people beginner tutorial on makeup don't always show the brows. Most times they come on the screen, their brows already done, and they teach you how to apply eyeshadow, concealer, contour, and everything else, and they always skip the brow part. But I'm like, why do we always skip the brow? That is one of the most important part of makeup. Like, if your brows are perfectly done, you might just have to put your lip gloss and get going, because it's almost like the whole makeup is done. It gives your face that outstanding, bold, well made up face look. So sometimes you don't really need to do the whole eyeshadow, you just need your brows done. And that's why I am here to do what other people are not doing. Okay, I have brought you that video that you need to get your makeup game, makeup journey started. So stay tuned. So one of the things that we're going to be using today for our brows is obviously an eye pencil, and the reason I'm using this is because I'm dark skinned. My brows are also carved, so if you want to know how to carve your brows to get this kind of shape, I also have a video tutorial that I posted earlier on my channel. You can go ahead and check that video out to learn how you can carve your own brows at home, okay, free of charge. All you need is just a blade and a few other tools, and I mean, it's just something you can get at a regular store. So with that being said, let's get right into our brows. So the three things I would need, so this is very beginner friendly, it's easy to follow through. So if you are trying to learn how to do your makeup, all you need to do is watch this video. You can pause from time to time and follow through. I'm going to be giving you very practical examples on how you can get your perfect brow. Okay, all right, so first thing you need is your eye pencil. Secondly, you need a concealer brush. A concealer brush should look somewhat like this, very tilted, and it's also going to be slim. So this is what you need. And then you need a concealer that matches your skin tone. For me, this is what matches my skin tone, so I'm going to be using the L'Oreal. And then finally, you need a brush. So some people can either use a brush like that or like a typical eyebrow brush, something like this. You can use this if you want, but for today's video I'm going to be using this. That's just because mine already still has mascara on it, so I couldn't find the other one and pretty much don't use it that much. But for beginners, I'll advise you use this because it's very beginner friendly. It helps you to make the brows look very natural, faded properly and effectively. So currently I don't have anything drawn on my brows. As you can see, it is just, that's my natural brow, but obviously it is curved. My brows don't grow naturally like this, so don't think, oh, she has a perfect brow, that's why she can draw it easily. No, my brows don't grow like this. My brows actually grow all the way down here. It doesn't have this archy shape, it's just full all the way. I'm the one who trims all that part out and get the shape that I want and the shape that fits my face. So like I said earlier, if you want to know how to do that, I have a video on my channel showing you how to carve your brows. So let's get right into how we can carve our brows today. So first thing first, I like to do is, when carving my brows, I like to start by, as a beginner, I would say you have to outline four. Will I say four? You outline the lower part with a dot, the upper part with a dot. Okay, can you see the dots? And then that's where your brow starts from, and then you want to pick an arc, the end here, and the other one should be up on top of that. You see that? And then one dot at the end. So some people might not have very long brows. If you don't, all you need to do is map out where you want it to start, where you want it to arc, and where you want it to end. That's all you need to do. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like I said, if your brows are short and they probably end around here, because I know I've seen a lot of people, your brows are probably just this much, you can also just give yourself and use your eye to weigh, okay, if it's here, then here, and then you can start. So what I always tell people to do is you need to do shading. Some people go and just start drawing straight lines like that, and that is completely awful. It's not going to look good. So to draw a perfect brow, you need to shade. I always tell people, from the line that you have put, you need to start shading it upwards. Okay, You shade it upwards lightly, and you keep on shading all the way down like that. You get to the top, keep shading it so it's like you're filling in the brow till you get to the line where you're supposed to stop, and you stop just there. Okay, do the same thing here. Shade, 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 and stop there. Okay, once you have gotten that, you're gonna take that same strategy to the next part. You want to drop where it starts. The brow starts there, the brow ends here, the arc goes in here, down here, and then one line here where I want it to stop. And what I'm going to do is just carefully shade, 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 shade. This is not how I regularly draw my brows, but this is how I like to advise beginners to draw their brows, especially when you're just learning, because it's easier like this. For me, I'm so good that I could just use one line and I get it. But when you're learning, I always advise people to shade, because that way it helps you to not go beyond those. So you do short strokes and you get to that point, you do the same thing up, short strokes, and you get to that point. Once you have filled the brows, you can see this is bold enough. It doesn't have to be perfectly accurate, okay? It doesn't have to be exactly the same. That is where this brush comes in. So what you do is you start fading from the top. You use the brush to fade from the top. Make sure you are taking it beyond where you started so that the rest of the eye pencil can fade, so it gives you that feather effect. Okay, you do it till it fades all the way, so that way you don't have any harsh lines. Can you see? You can't see where that point was anymore. You fade all that out. Same thing here. You want to fade. Okay, as you can see, I fade it up until it doesn't show any hash line where it started, and I continue fading down. So at this point in time, you can see that I have faded the brows to the point where it is smooth. You can't see a starting point anymore, and if you want, you can still fade more to get rid of any seemingly harsh line. Now that looks like a very good blend, I will go in with a concealer. So for the concealer, once I open it, I will take the brush and dab on two sides, 1, 2. Okay, so you can see on the one side and on the second side. All right, so I have it on both places there. Just the same way you hold a pencil, you hold it like this, and now I'm gonna take it from here. Okay, and I try to follow a shading pattern as well. Do you see that? So I will now take that forward a little bit. At this point in time, I'm now focused on blending. If you're a beginner, sometimes you might want to continue using the brush to blend. You can also try to reduce it now. When it's time to blend, you can reduce the excess concealer from the brush and then use the rest of the remnants to blend whatever concealer is there to your skin. Blending is key when it comes to makeup. It's one of the most powerful assets you can have. It's the most powerful tool. Blending is what makes a perfect makeup look perfect and flawless. So once you master the art of blending, you've mastered the art of good makeup. Okay, so we have to blend it and make sure we don't see any harsh lines that make it look unnatural. Blend it all the way out. Okay, so we're done with the top part, the bottom part. If I see anything that looks abnormal, you can always straighten it out. So now that looks good enough for the start, and now we're gonna do the top. So for the top, I always hold it like this, the same way I'm holding it, right? But now I'm going from the top, okay? From the top, you don't have to rush this process. You take your time and keep going. Take your time. And once you get here, you can lower your hand and remember your arc. So you bring it down and don't forget the meeting point. Okay, so you can always adjust the size to what you want. If you want it slimmer, you can always do that with a concealer. Just try not to rush the process, because if you rush it, then it's going to be difficult for you to blend everything in or get to good shape. So now I go in with my blending. It's a very vital part. Blending is vital. You see that? Blend into the rest of your face. Make sure it blends well. Okay, so we've done that for part one. Let's go into the second side of my face and let's see. Remember, I didn't start from here. Remember how I held the brush, and I'm starting from inside. Make sure you get the arc and then go down. Blending, very important, and then you blend the rest to the front. See that? You see that? And then the top. No two brows are the same, so sometimes you might have it looking slightly different, but it's just to get it to look as similar as possible. Okay, so I get to my arc where that is, just here, and then I can go ahead and cut it down. See? And then you can always adjust the size as you want from bottom to top. See what works for you. This looks a little too high, so I can always bring it down by concealing more out and bringing it down again. Do the same thing again. Bring it down. We're getting there. So now it's time to blend out. Blending is very key. And I used to say on top of this, you don't want too much concealer at the top part because you don't want it to stand out so much. But at the bottom, it's fine because you're still going to use eyeshadow and highlight those areas. So when I'm done with this, I also like to use my fingers to make sure I can remove any excesses. Make sure it blends perfectly with my skin. Okay, so I can now come to the front. See, it looks bold in front, and for my face I like it to look smaller, so I can go ahead and make that smaller. As you can see, make it smaller. It doesn't have to be too much. You don't have to dip it in concealer anymore. You just need to use whatever is left to get that shape. So now you see how it looks. You can also use your hand to fade it more into your skin. So what you have is very close to natural. See that? Now to finish this up, I like to go with a powder that matches my skin perfectly. I'm just gonna make something warm that matches my skin tone, and I just put it on top. This bakes your eyebrows, just bakes it in. Okay, so anybody that decides they want to push you and think that it's gonna wipe off your brows, they're lying. It's gonna stay. because you have baked your brows in. You see what I'm saying? So I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment on what next you'd like to see. See you again in my next video. I remain your girl, Ibukun Adejimi. Bye for now.